Mind you, my first impression of him was Frankenstein, was 2025 Frankenstein. And oh boy. Hi, I'm a little hippie. And today we're going to talk about my attempts in 2026 to spend less time on social media. I kind of want to start this off kind of explaining my timeline with social media. Um, when I was growing up, I feel like being born in 1996, it was like the perfect time of like having a normal childhood. And by normal childhood, I mean going outside, going to play, the internet not being as advanced and as huge as it has become today. And I'm so thankful for that period in my life where I got to go outside and play with friends, where I got to go outside and play with my siblings. And when I got a little bit older, let's say around elementary to middle school type timeline, my dad and my stepmom, they worked a lot. So, and I'm the oldest daughter, so I watched my siblings a lot. And he would always make us walk to the playground. And this playground it had to be maybe a mile and a half away from us. So it wasn't a long walk at all. But I hated doing it. I didn't want to do it. Like, why can't we just play outside? Why do we have to walk? And then, what to make matters worse, there was a playground right up the street at our school that was less than a mile away that we totally could have walked to go play. But no, he he made us walk to the one that was like a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles away from home. But I appreciate that now. I didn't like it back then, but I appreciate it now because we spent so much time outside. And because I was the oldest sibling and because I was watching my siblings so much, I had a phone, but it wasn't like a smartphone. It is what we would today call a dumb phone. So it was just a little flip. All I could do was send text messages or make phone calls. And instead of being in the house all day, my dad would make us go to the playground for however, whatever the amount of time was. But the crazy thing is that even when we weren't going to the playground, we would play in the house. Oh my God. I remember this one time, my sister and I don't know where this idea came from and I don't know why we decided to do it, but I I don't know. We were playing in the house and we just like squirted. We literally squirted body wash all over the floor, okay? And all over like the spare blankets and stuff that we had and wet the I don't know why we did this, okay? But all that to say, we were in big trouble when our parents got home, but we were playing, we were having fun. And, I feel maybe that is a lost art in today's generation of iPads and super smartphones and YouTube kids and YouTube whatever. So I'm really thankful to have grown up in a time like that where we used our imagination and we played and we had fun. And I got my first smartphone. It was like a Virgin Mobile, like slide phone with like a touchscreen and everything when I was in maybe the seventh grade ish. Um, and then like my dad would let me use his phone to get on the internet and to search things up and search up all my favorite celebrities. Like those were the kinds of things that introduced me to the internet. And then fast forward when I'm in high school and then I go move with my mom, I get an actual smartphone where I can listen to music, where I can download music, where I can do pretty much almost everything you could do on a smartphone now. And this was around the 2011-ish era. But even when I had that phone, I didn't get to use it that much. This was also when I was introduced to reading as well, because I couldn't use my phone that much. And I was also introduced to writing. My two longest standing hobbies, reading and writing, I was introduced to them seriously at this time. I was writing before, but this is when I was using a computer to write. I was like sharing stories on fan fiction and everything like that. And just kind of as an escape because I needed it. Life was not very fun in this period of my life. So I read a lot and um I didn't really start using social media until maybe my sophomore year of high school. And then halfway through that year, I went to go live with my uncle and my aunt. And then I got even more access to the internet. And that is when I truly began started using social media. And the longer I used it, and the more advanced it got, the more addicted I got to it. So I just kind of wanted to explain how my addiction to social media began, and this is where I am now at the point of trying to wean myself off of it very slowly, very gradually, which I have been doing because if you look at my screen time, it is astronomical. You don't even want to know. But I spend most of my time on productive apps. So I'm writing, I'm using other productive apps, my calculator, things like that. And I'm spending less time on social media, which is what I want. And when I do use social media, I am doing something productive, like getting my steps in for the day, on the bike at the treadmill. And I feel better about it. But, I would love to get to the point where I'm doing something even more productive, like writing my stories. Currently, I'm writing a novel. So maybe write my novel as I'm getting my steps in, do something more productive to kind of end this social media addiction. To my next point and how I'm trying to overcome it. I mentioned it before, but I have released two novellas on Kindle Unlimited, and that means I'm spending more time writing with purpose now. I used to write a lot, but I didn't have any purpose, and there was no where this content that I was creating was going to go. But now that I know how simple it is to self publish on Kindle Unlimited, I'm writing towards a goal. So I'm doing it more often now. And not only that, but I'm doing it with more purpose. So I'm doing research for these projects on Pinterest, on ChatGPT, all these sorts of things to kind of help me build the world that I want to write about. So I spend less time on social media, and 9 times out of 10, when I am on social media, it's productive, it's for research, less scrolling. But I do find myself scrolling because it's easy sometimes. So, what I'm trying to do more of is be more creative, not just in writing, but also in making my videos, also in just other hobbies like sketching. I've always loved to draw, and journaling. And by journaling, I mean like mixed media journaling. It's just so fun and it's messy, and I get glue all over my hands, but I have fun when I'm doing it because it's just a flow state of creating versus consuming. And then also something that I have been doing lately is when I watch movies, I don't watch movies that often. I think in 2026, one of my goals will be to go to the movies more often. One of the first movies I want to see this year is Wuthering Heights, Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. First of all, I did not know that Jacob Elordi could act like that. Mind you, my first impression of him was 2025 Frankenstein. And oh boy, oh my God, I want to see anything he's in now because that dude he's something else, okay? He's something else. He made me feel things in Frankenstein. So there's that. But yes, and speaking of Frankenstein, when I watched Frankenstein, I forced myself not to get on my phone. And whenever I got on my phone, I would pause the movie. And I only got on the phone probably twice to Google some things for a little bit of clarity. That's all. But I want to get to the point where I'm not doing it at all. Maybe I take a note, maybe I write it down in a notebook. That's another thing I've been trying to do is use notebooks. So write down whatever thought I have in during the movie, put it in a notebook, research it later. I want to try to incorporate that. Less phone use. So I know it sounds crazy because you're still consuming something, but the fact that it's long form makes a difference. And the fact that you have to focus on it for, let's say, 2 hours on end, that is more beneficial than short form content or scrolling on social media. So I want to go to the movie theater more often this year. I want to watch more movies even at home or even more shows at home where I have to pay attention. And I'll call these instances no phone time. So those are just some of the ways I'm trying to break that addiction. To the next topic of why it's beneficial to overcome this addiction to social media or this obsession that we have with social media for everyone. And I think that's because as human beings, I feel as though we live in a time where we're taking in so much and we're not meant to do that. I don't believe that we are meant to take on everybody's thoughts at all times, see everybody's life, the best parts of people's lives at all time. You just wouldn't do that. And I heard it said before that people get upset over their like count if it's not super high, not realizing that if you walked through life and 15 different people in a day came up to you and told you they like your sweater or they like your glasses or they like your hair or they like whatever about you or they like your smile, you would feel overstimulated. So likes are the same way because getting one compliment is a little bit like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? It's a little awkward. So how would it feel if 15 people or if 20 people or if 100 people came up to you and told you they liked something about you every day? It would be nice, but it would be exhausting. So likes are the same way. Why should likes on a platform be any different? And so then you get to the point of people just trying to come up with content that's not true to them, content that is meant for pushing them in the algorithm just so that they can be seen and get more engagement. And I understand that people are trying to make money. I totally get that. But I do believe that it's just not good for us to have that much engagement every single day. And for me, I find like going on threads for the most part, because that's where I spend a lot of time is threads. It's just not good. I find myself feeling negative, increasingly negative, the more time I spend on threads. And I don't want that to be the case. And I realize that it's because I'm taking in so many political views. I'm taking in so many think pieces, so many half-baked ideas a lot of the time from people who are just trying to get engagement. A lot of the same ideas perpetuated again and again and again because people are trying to blow up and go viral, and it's difficult. And so I don't want to do that. I would much rather spend my time creating. I would much rather spend my time doing something productive, doing something that is true to me. And that's why I think it's good for everyone as a whole to kind of not get rid of social media completely. I think that's unrealistic, but to kind of moderate how you use it. Last topic is like how being creative helps with that again, because you're creating something. I feel whenever I'm doing something creative, it just feels really good because I am making something. I'm using the resources that I have to create something fun, to create something beautiful, to create something that is unique to me, something that means something to me. So, what I started doing last year in 2025 that I want to continue to do is doing mixed media art. It's so fun because I get to make pretty things, but out of things that are already in existence, if you will. Um, and then that led into me getting back into drawing and sketching. And I have a lot of fun doing that. I could spend hours doing mixed media. Like I remember this one time I spent a whole day doing mixed media journaling. It's so fun, like trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, and whether this fits here or whether it should be something else. And then flipping through all your stickers and trying to find the perfect one. To me, there's so much serenity in that and so much calm in that. And it helps me to stay calm and not be anxious and not be upset because I just read something that is just like, why would you ever say that? So whatever it is for you, whatever the thing that lights you up on the inside that you enjoy to do, you should try to do more of that instead of being on social media. I think, I mean, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but that's what I plan to do more of in 2026, especially with having a full-time job and having responsibilities. It's so important to have things that give to you, that light you up on the inside, versus coming home from work after a long day and then engaging in something that is quick and dopamine inducing but also draining. So those are just a few things I wanted to talk about social media and trying to use it a little bit less in this coming year and going forward. So yeah, I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good evening, and most importantly, I hope you read a good book. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye.